Hey guys, Marsling here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today with the announcement of the Tech Super Saiyan 2 Gohan EZA, we can cross another one of these oldest units in a certain category that doesn't have an EZA off of the list. And that leads me to wonder, as many people do, I mean, even when a celebration is midway through, people start speculating about what is going to come afterwards. But we are obviously in the very final parts of the Global Dokkan campaign, and so we are looking forward to wonder what is going to be coming next. Obviously we know the Tanabata celebration has been delayed and obviously will be renamed, right? Because the Tanabata celebration was always in July in Japan, because that's the name of an actual festival in Japan, but that is in July, so that's been and gone. So this celebration that used to be called the Tanabata celebration will obviously be called something else. Obviously on Global it was given a different name anyway, because it used to come to Global in around November. So we know that that's going to be coming for September with the Memorial Stones that we saw confirmation of yesterday as well. But other than that, we don't really know exactly what the timeline is going to look like. So if we go ahead and take a look at the timeline from 2023, so unfortunately the wiki doesn't have the 2024, you can see here as we moved into August, I guess if we go to like the end of July, this is the JP schedule, because remember we are kind of on the JP schedule now, but everything is synced, so there's no global anniversary stuff here. But the Carnival Omega, which was the last part of the Tanabata celebration, was here on the 20th. And then we got the Dokkan Fest Super Trunks releasing on the 31st of July. So this is kind of like the time slot for the Gohan, Goten and Trunks. They just came out like a week or so later. So then as we move into August, you can see here we got the rest of the stuff from that celebration. So this is roughly where we are now, right? Getting some extra EZAs and things like that. There was a world tournament. This is actually around now. So I think it's too late in the week for there to randomly be an announcement that there's a world tournament this weekend, although we get the data download tomorrow, so I feel like they would have announced it ahead of time maybe, but for all we know, like the data download tomorrow could literally have a bunch of world tournament EZAs in it, and then the world tournament starts like this weekend. But I imagine there potentially will be one maybe before the end of the month, because it's been almost 3 months since the last one. But then you can see here around the 17th, this is when the yearly Peppy Gals banner drops, where we get 2 new Peppy Gals characters and then 2 EZAs. We got the Mamba and the Android 18 in 2023. For this year, obviously we don't know who the new characters will be, but the EZAs should be in Chilai and... why have I forgotten who the other one is? Yeah, I don't remember now, but the Chilai EZA should be very interesting, because on release she was obviously like a unit that got a lot of play on various teams because of her massive support and then like ridiculously high chance to dodge. Although it was funny that like on release, especially at that time in the meta, I think she was like the weakest hitting unit in the game, which is kind of funny. Oh, it's the Physical Fascia is the other one, which could be interesting if we get a new Bardock or something sometime soon, I guess, or like some sort of low class Saiyans buff. But then as we move towards the end of August, this is when the worldwide celebration would have normally started, which obviously we're not having anymore. So I guess it's one of those things, we probably won't get a Dokkan Fest right at the end of August if the Tanabata is going to start early September, but we don't know exactly when that is going to be, because the worldwide celebration used to take up the whole of September. So as that celebration is now not going to be around anymore, and whilst the Tanabata is a 2-part celebration, that is obviously just usually a Dokkan Fest and then a Carnival LR in part 2. It's probably not going to be an entire month of September celebration. So we could see a Dokkan Fest release at the end of August, and then the Tanabata starts like 2 weeks into August maybe, or a week into it, and then lasts for the rest of the month until we get into October, because then we usually have a Dokkan Fest come out at the beginning of October. Yeah, here the In Androids came out on the 5th. So there's still no real saying of what exactly is going to come out. The Tanabata could literally just be the next big celebration, but I feel like with that being in September, it seems super weird that we're just not going to get anything for over 2 weeks other than the Peppy Gals banner. So I think we could see a new Dokkan Fest even literally like a week from now, potentially, not even at the end of August. So I wanted to talk about some of the possibilities that we could see based on that list that we've got for some of the upcoming EZAs. Now, obviously, just because those units are going to be the oldest units without EZAs doesn't obviously mean that there is going to be a celebration based around them and giving them the opportunity to EZA, but we have been crossing a lot of these guys off of this list. Characters like Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and now the Tech Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. So I feel like we could see something that could help usher in some of these EZAs. So we take a look at the, I had the Frieza page up here. I didn't get the actual unit up specifically, but this Angel Frieza from the Tournament of Power is now the oldest TUR that doesn't have an EZA. In fact, looking back at the actual image from the EZAs, he is now the only remaining unit from 2020 that doesn't have an EZA. So something Frieza related definitely could be on the cards. And for some of the more important characters, some of the big ticket characters from the show, protagonist or antagonist, those are the kind of things where we actually could maybe expect to see the Tanabata themed around something like that, right? Because one of the things people were talking about for a potential GDC theme was this idea of like Goku versus Frieza and having part 1 be Namek and then part 2 be Resurrection of F, because it's kind of like the beginning to end, because in terms of what we've got animated, that is obviously their first major to their final major like fight, right? So that could certainly be very interesting. Now obviously, whilst it's not related to the Tournament of Power, anything Frieza related would be the perfect excuse for them to give an EZA to this physical Angel Frieza and then potentially release a new Golden Frieza or a new Namek Frieza, whichever it's going to be. I think people would prefer Namek. I think after what we talked about the other day with the video I made just going over super bosses, I think it would be kind of cool if they did a new like Dragon Ball Super version. Like, as much as I don't like the reanimated like versions of the movies for the first part of the Dragon Ball Super actual anime series, if they did a Dragon Ball Super version of Golden Frieza so that he could be on the Super Bosses team, that would obviously be super beneficial for that team. This guy getting an EZA would just be like a basic side effect, but on that list of EZAs, even though we have so many more to go before them, the ROF Blues and the LR Golden Frieza are from 2022, and I mean, we do already have EZAs for 2022 units, so like these guys getting an EZA as part of a new ROF Frieza kind of celebration would be interesting. Or even if they just brought out a new unit that was a new version of these guys, obviously reversible exchange is right there as a new mechanic now. That could be very interesting, because I know for a lot of people, I've said this in the past many times, like a lot of people don't like Resurrection of F. I know it's not the best Dragon Ball movie or anything, but I liked it enough on release, and I was really looking forward to this unit specifically coming to the game, like a blue Goku where we could exchange into the blue Vegeta and have like the Frieza beatdown and speech and everything. And of course, when the unit came out, it was very disappointing. So a revamp for this unit would be kind of perfect. A reversible exchange version, give these guys an EZA the LR Golden Frieza, and then I guess this guy could be involved as well, even though not directly related, because I don't think we'll see something else Tournament of Power related this soon. Like a Tournament of Power Golden Frieza would be kind of a weird release, especially because he's not considered a super boss because he's on Team Universe 7. So I don't know how good of a release that would be, but this guy is the oldest unit in the game. Well, I say unit, the oldest Dokkan Fest exclusive or LR that doesn't have an EZA. So something Frieza related could definitely be coming up very soon. And then the next oldest unit we now have that doesn't have an EZA is in fact a yellow coin LR, which is the Tapion and Minosha. So this is one thing that we've kind of talked about for ages. Minato and I made a video right at the beginning of the year speculating about who all the releases of the year could be. We both came up with our ideas for like a full schedule, and both of us included a Dokkan Fest Tapion. I think he's one of those characters that could fit nicely as like a filler Dokkan Fest because he's on a ton of good categories. I think it would work quite nicely, and the thing that I would really like to see the new version of him be is a version similar to this unit where he does actually transform into Hirudegarn, because if they make it an active skill, that makes him another one of these units that has this really good utility where you can use the active skill and then you get that one turn as Hirudegarn and it cancels out all the super attacks and special abilities from the enemy, gives you a bit of free damage, and then you're safe on like the next turn. So something like that would be very, very helpful. And he gets to be on like movie bosses as well as movie heroes by having that, and of course giant form. And then he's on Time Travelers, Siblings Bond, Power of Wishes, Demonic Power, of course, as well. Uncontrollable Power, that's a category that definitely needs some more buffs now after Int Broly kind of fell off a little bit. I mean, his categories aren't actually amazing, but Movie Heroes is good. The combination of some of these other ones is pretty good. And if we got a Dokkan Fest, imagine a Dokkan Fest Tapion that transforms into Hirudegarn that had movie heroes and movie bosses as part of his lead. I suppose that wouldn't be super beneficial for most units because they don't cross over really well aside from Broly with other Saiyan units, but this guy has an interesting mix of leader skills that could make for a decent mix of categories that could make for a good leader skill. But yeah, I would like to see a Dokkan Fest Tapion. Like I say, Tapion and Minosha are now like they're the oldest LR without an EZA, because the oldest Dokkan Fest TUR is now Frieza, then it was Tech Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, but he's getting his now, so Tapion and Minosha are the oldest summonable LR without an EZA, so definitely would be interesting to see that. Now the next unit in line that is the oldest that doesn't have an EZA is another summonable LR, and it is the Super 17, and obviously we kind of assumed he would get one during this celebration with it being themed around GT for the second part. But of course that did not materialize. So this guy could maybe get an EZA when something else related to androids comes out. And if we look back at that list, it's a little bit further down the year in the 2021 list. We've got another couple of units to talk about who would be older than them. But there's 3 units in a row in the 2021 list after near the bottom, which is the Tech Androids, the AGL Dokkan Fest Trunks, and the AGL LR Future Gohan and Trunks. So all of these guys are tied to Future Saga, which of course was part 1 of the celebration now, but they're all very much tied to the like Z Future, like Future Androids arc, and not specifically the Dragon Ball Super one, and they all get combined into the same category for Future Saga in Dokkan, but obviously they are their own separate thing. So this could open the door for a couple of different things for a new celebration. We could get a new Trunks. We don't have a Dokkan Fest version of like this Trunks, the one that returns to his timeline after the Cell games, and obviously with his newfound power-ups and everything just destroys the androids. This guy doesn't have a Dokkan Fest, so this could be very interesting. Obviously, of course, right there, as we've talked about already with reversible exchange, revamps of old units, the future androids getting a reversible exchange character is definitely something that could be pretty interesting. And maybe even a reversible exchange version of a future Gohan and Trunks, right? With different active skills could be quite interesting. I guess reversible exchange doesn't work as well for some of the design ideas for this character, because we don't yet have a future like youth Trunks that goes Super Saiyan after like Gohan dies, and that's something that could be a really cool active skill or intro animation. So obviously wouldn't really make sense on a card where you could then switch back to playing as future Gohan, right? But these guys all could use EZAs, and they are all very much in line as some of the last units of 2021 that don't have an EZA. So something future Trunks or future androids related could be interesting. But then the other couple of units who are before them, between Super 17 and then these future Trunks units, we have 2 other units, the AGL Dokkan Fest Kid Gohan and the Int LR Goku and Piccolo. Now the interesting thing about these 2 is these guys are on movie heroes, so these guys count as like the movie version of the Dead Zone, right? And then Gohan isn't on movie heroes, so he's from like the Z filler version of the Garlic Jr. saga, which is weird that they're not both from the same thing, because I believe weren't these guys, they were the part 2 LR, yeah, because they came out like 2 weeks after this guy, which is weird. And of course it also means that this guy, while he's not featured on the list because he's not a Dokkan Fest, this guy would very much be in line for an EZA because he was the banner unit for the AGL Gohan. And he is a really, really good support unit for extreme teams. So that means we could see, for example, actually a Dokkan Fest Garlic Jr., and then that would be the perfect opportunity to EZA all these guys. We could have a reversible exchange, Goku and Piccolo, some new version of the Kid Gohan. I think what's more likely out of those options is probably Garlic Jr. I don't know if they're gonna... They've dropped a lot of reversible exchange LRs since they debuted the mechanic for the 10th anniversary, but we haven't gotten, apart from the free-to-play, like Goten and Trunks that were part of the celebration, we're not getting... They haven't been dropping like reversible exchange TURs. So if we were just going to get a random Dokkan Fest filler banner, I don't think it would be a reversible exchange Goku Piccolo. So this would be a really good option. Obviously with the categories that he's on as well, he provides some interesting options. Like, Extreme's always in that weird spot, because like if you look at this guy's categories, he's not on any of the categories for Omega, who's now like the new big Extreme team leader. So this guy getting a Dokkan Fest with a good combination of some of these categories like Terrifying Conquerors, Revenge, Demonic Power, Power of Wishes, Transformation Boost, like that could make for another really, really good Extreme team. And some of those categories Omega is on, even though it's not part of his lead. So that team could definitely be very, very good. So those are some of the ideas that I was thinking we could see coming up fairly soon, just based on all of the units that still need to EZA that came from 2020 and 2021. If we switch back over to the thing here and take a proper look again, you can see here we've mentioned all these units like Frieza, Gohan's getting his, Tapion and Minosha, Super 17, the Garlic Jr. characters, then we got those future Trunks units. Now, as we move into 2022, like I said, some of these guys have their EZAs already, but we've got things in here like Majin Vegeta, the Saiyan Day unit from a few years ago. Obviously, he could be due an EZA anytime now, with any celebration related to Pure Saiyans or Buu Saga or Vegeta family. And then after him, we've got Raditz and Goku and Piccolo, so Saiyan Saga could potentially be on the cards. You can see there the blue ROF Blues and Golden Frieza that we already mentioned. And then after that, we got like some random ones like the GT Pan and that Buu Saga, the Cell Saga What If, like Goku and Gohan. And then after that, we've got all the worldwide characters, we've got the Gammas, a lot of movie characters. So movies as a big celebration is a thing that I've seen people talk quite a lot about, whether that could be Tanabata or New Year's or even part of the 11th anniversary. Obviously we haven't mentioned Daima in this video up until now. I do think that's a strong possibility for Tanabata as well. But obviously, one of the big reasons we were expecting Tanabata to be one of the recent big celebrations is because even though there's not really any Tanabata units old enough, or Daima units old enough to get EZAs, they could have tied in stuff like the Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, because at least Super Saiyan 4 is related to Daima, but they've done that now. So if we had a big Daima celebration drop now, like who's going to EZA? It's kind of a weird one. But yeah, movies is definitely could be on the cards. All those worldwide characters, the Gammas, and then of course at the bottom there, the Gohan and Piccolo, the Hachiak trio, or well, it's like 5 of them, isn't it? The Hachiak special, Carnival LR Goku. Technically that's counted as like a TV special or like OVA, so they're not on Movie Heroes, are they? But a lot of stuff related to that is all coming up from units at the end of 2022. So there's a lot of interesting options. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Other than the Peppy Gals banner, which should, I guess, be coming out next week, as there's been no news of it this week. As I said, in 2023, it was on the 17th. What do you think the next thing we will see after that? Will we get a Dokkan Fest towards the end of August? Do you think we'll be getting a World Tournament soon? Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.